Hello, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a great show today. So many people reach out to me at DotCom Magazine and they say, Jake, listen, we love it when you bring worldwide leading experts on the show in various verticals. So, of course, one thing that's very interesting to us at DotCom Magazine is the way in which technology can simplify what businesses can do so that they can focus on their core competency. And one thing that is just so important is for companies to make sure that they really don't spend too much time, energy, and effort in AR and AP, accounts receivables, of course, and accounts payables. So we've been able to invite a real leader on the field. I mean, his name is Mark Greenspan. You've probably heard of him. He's the CEO of a company called Checkissuing. And what a company. I mean, they've got thousands of customers. Everybody from small companies to Fortune 1000 companies use their software, their service, their technology, their platform, their stack. And wow, what a great company he's built. It's such an honor to have him on the show. Mark, welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Show today.
Hi, Andy. It's awesome to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, let's get right into it, Mark, because I've got so many questions for you. Let's pull the lens back to start with the 30,000 feet as we become known for throughout the world, and tell us about Checkissuing.com. Systems,
absolutely. Yeah, so we our goal here is to provide solutions to companies to help automate their back office systems, which includes the accounts payable side and the accounts receivable side. And to do so, we have systems that we created to make sure that there's a dependable and secure way to get all of their the payment side with the checks and digital checks and ACH direct deposit to their payees quickly and effectively, as well as the accounts receivable side, to where we get the statements out to to their customers either by mail or by email, and the process is very seamless. And as far as transparency goes, every step of the way is as far as the status goes, we make sure all that the entire process is very transparent.
Yeah, Mark, it's so incredible what you've done, and of course, your clients, I mean, the roster of clients that you have is incredible. I mean, you've got some of the leading educational, finance, healthcare companies and services on the roster. They love the way in which you connect seamlessly to their organization in a very simple, reliable, and of course, compliant, way. I mean, it's really, really awesome. When we think about, what you've been able to do, I know you're very excited about your technology, but also you're very, very passionate about your team. So let's talk about that a little bit. When somebody reaches out to you at Checkissuing.com and they say, hey, we've heard about you, everybody's talking about you online. I was at a conference or a Zoom interview and people were talking about this technology stack that you have over there. How important is it for you at your company to make sure that you're able to match the right people working at your company with the right technology? In other words, how important are the people behind the scenes at Checkissuing.com?
Well, yeah, the people are, the most important thing there. And any company, the most important aspect of the company is the people. Other than that, it's just the computers and software and maybe some intellectual property. But yeah, the people are that's what makes the company. So as far as the people that we hire, we try to find the people that are experts in their field in whatever discipline that we need. And it does take some trial and error. You need to find out how to find the right fit for the person, for their discipline, and then you need to manage them and train them along the way. They need to be ingrained into the company culture, and they need to get a lot of feedback from customers on what's working, what's not working, in order to fine tune the process and the training for the future for future employees. But yeah, it's absolutely it's critical. One bad apple can ruin the whole pot. And you don't want that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You've been able to build a world-class team. I mean, everybody talks about your team over there at Check Issuing. And the one thing that I find very, very interesting about your business is you're really dealing with critical document communications. I mean, companies and what you offer, it's just critical. I mean, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and other things that you offer, I mean, they're critical to a business. That's really the lifeblood of a business. So when you think about it in terms of how important it is, what you're able to offer to your amazing roster of companies, when you wake up in the morning, do you say to yourself, this is such an important business that we have, because without us, those companies just don't go.
Oh, absolutely. It's I think the most important thing about myself and the staff here is that we really care about the customers. The clients that we have. We're part of their business. It's mission critical, and we take it very personally to make sure that they're very happy. And it's not always easy, but it's something that something that's very ingrained into our culture philosophy.
Yeah, I love it so much. And of course, what companies get with Check Issuing is not only an industry leading technology platform, but they also get the people behind it. And we love that so much when we see companies that have the technology platform, but also have the people behind it that stand by what they present to the entrepreneurial and business community and are there every step of the way. And they really make things simple. Those are the types of companies that really resonate for us, because you've been able to take something very complex, but simplify it in a very powerful way. And that's why you really have thousands of organizations using this very simple, reliable, and compliant program that you've been able to offer. So let's talk about it for a second, because entrepreneurs are going to be watching the show and they're saying to themselves, how did Mark build this thing? I mean, he's a leader in the field. The company is a name brand. Checkissuing.com is, a great brand, by the way. I mean, it's just incredible that you're checkissuing.com, that you even have that domain name. When we think about it, what was the big challenge for you starting when you did, and starting a small company that now is just, growing at a great rate, and we're seeing hockey stick growth at your company?
Oh, sure. I think it was a number of different things that caused that. One is being at the market at the right time. The way we started is we saw there was a void for companies that send payments out for other companies, mostly with affiliate programs. And a few message boards I was on, I saw a number of people asking about it, and then I said, how hard could it be to do? You need a printer, a website, a very small level of staff in order to start the process. And then we started that, and then it just the clients kept growing, and then we're able to help scale the infrastructure for this. And then it just took a lot of feedback from clients, and then just kept building and scaling the systems out for them. So it was very important to be able to do so. But I think timing was probably the most crucial fact. That, as well as the level of the staffing, the staff we got, because our team here is amazing. They're all superstars.
Yeah, I love it.
I think you really need for a company to grow.
Yeah, I love it so much. And of course, one thing that you've become known for, especially for your clients in the healthcare space, is you have to be very compliant. I mean, you have to be very safe and secure and compliant. How important is that? When you think about being compliant and safe for your clients as a CEO of the company, how important is that for you to get that idea across to your team to make sure that, all the healthcare clients understand that you're taking that very, very seriously?
Oh, it's critical. It's critical. It's one of the pinnacles that we're founded on is that because you deal with money and transactions and bank accounts, you need to be ultra secure. And it's not that easy to do that but you must do it on many different levels. That starts off with with the systems and the databases and how you architect the databases, the encryption levels for different types of data, the staffing training, building security, the change management policies. You really need to have your ducks in a row, and you can't do it as a small company. You need to be at a certain level to where you can afford to have these controls and protocols put in place, and the training levels and the retraining. So it's paramount that there's no, obviously no breaches. The data doesn't get in the wrong hands in any way, that clients can trust you, because all it takes is one or two, issues, and you're out of business, and you don't want that.
Yeah, that makes great sense. And of course, I know that you have a wonderful roster of clients. And I know that you do get calls from clients saying, hey, Mark, or to your team, of course, we're with another technology company. We're not as excited about what's happening with their technological deliverable as I possibly could be. Of course, I heard about check issuing, and I want to investigate maybe moving over to check issuing from my existing technology company. So let's talk about that a little bit. How hard is it to take an existing company who's currently using, let's say, another one of the companies out there and move them over to the check issuing technology stack?
Oh, sure. Well, first, you need to entice them with things that they don't get with the current setup, which in our case, it would be additional features that we have that other customers don't have, other companies don't have. One of them being USPS mail tracking, to where we can track the delivery of the mailing all the way through the system, down to where it gets delivered at the recipient's post office. And then we can tell what the payments have cleared, which helps with other systems like Positive Pay and ensuring that checks don't get in the wrong hands. But yeah, it's very it's very important to be able to provide that.
Yeah, and you do such a great job of it. Now, for the people watching the show, maybe they're an entrepreneur, maybe they haven't started into sort of the account payable, account receivable world yet. Let's break it down for them, because when I think about it, there's still a lot of paper checks going around. There's still a lot of paper traveling around the United States, and it's not all being done digitally. So let's talk about that. I would imagine there's a lot of paper being moved around by, Checkissuing.com.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, there are digital checks, which is a new technology we invested in years ago, which has actually been panning out very nicely. With digital check, it is a check. It's being sent through email, obviously very securely. Get a password or SMS authentication code before you get it. And the recipient can then cash it right away, either by taking a photo of the screen or using one of the other deposit options. And by doing so, it saves paper. It saves time, because delivery method is much faster than USPS mail, which has been pretty slow in the past year and a half. So it's something that's it really makes sense for a lot of clients to use, and it's digital, it's instant, and it gets people kind of away from the paper check side.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great way to go. Maybe there'll be a world where there'll be no paper in the future, but certainly when we talk about critical document communications, we're talking about not only sort of the paper documents, but we're also talking about the electronic documents that are really becoming a strong foothold throughout the world and throughout the United States. And you're really at the center of it and a leader in making sure that those documents get delivered in the most secure way. So I want to congratulate you on that leadership position, Mark, at Check Issuing. It's just remarkable. Now, what I want to do is I want to move our conversation to entrepreneurship just a little bit, because people are watching the show, younger entrepreneurs, they're going to reach out, of course, because everybody needs to have, AR, AP, they need to have a protocol and a technology and a partner to deliver all of those in a very, very strong and secure way. But we have younger entrepreneurs watching the show, Mark, and maybe they're hitting a roadblock. Maybe they're hitting a pothole in the road and they're watching you and they're saying, wow, this, Mark Greenspan, he's built this great company. Has he ever had a problem? Has he ever had a roadblock? So for the younger entrepreneurs watching the show, maybe you could give some advice if they're hitting a roadblock. Maybe you could give some advice on how to get through a pothole in the road. Maybe you could give some advice to the younger entrepreneurs on what it takes to get through those roadblocks and come out the other side being much stronger for having gone through the roadblock.
Oh, that's a great question. So when you're an entrepreneur, you're a problem solver. Whatever the problem is, you're a problem solver. So whether the problem is how to start a business, to whereas you would look for someplace in the market that has a void that you can fill, you could fill, or it's when you grow your business, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have, how do I get more clients? How do I scale the systems out? There's some, pretty larger problems you can have as well, and it takes a lot of perseverance and research in order to figure out how to get around those obstacles. So I would suggest that the first thing you would do is, if you're not the only company in the market, you would look at what your competitors are doing. You would look at their websites, maybe their agreements with their clients. If you can get those somehow, but also, there's all this information that you can get from from just researching that would be helpful for your business model. I mean, most of the problems that you're having, somebody else has solved already, and you just got to figure out how they solved it. What do they do to do it? And how do I put that into my environment where it works? And it'd be a lot of hard work. And you could research for, 100 hours and, maybe for this 10 minutes that you spend, you find something amazing. So it takes a lot of perseverance and hard work and, diligence.
Yeah, Mark, I love it so much. And of course, hanging behind you, and that's great advice for the entrepreneurs watching the show. Rewind what Mark just said. I mean, that's a little mini MBA, Harvard MBA he just gave you about how to move forward out of obstacles. Now, based on what you have on your wall in our pre-interview, I know that you love music. I know you're a musician. You've got some super cool, guitars and bass behind you on the wall. Let's talk about this just for a second, because, when I think about a great band or I think about a great musical ensemble, I like rock and roll. I know you like rock and roll too. So, we have a mutual love of a old time band called Led Zeppelin, of course. When you think about a band and the way in which they work together to create music, what can you learn from musicians working together to create a great piece of music that you've brought into your business? In other words, is it that same type of unified approach, that same type of working together as musicians to make a piece of music that you need in a business to make sure that the business produces something beautiful, just like a beautiful piece of music? And in this case, we'll use Stairway to Heaven, of course, because it's probably the greatest, rock and roll song of all time.
Oh, yeah. There's lots of symmetries, similarities between a business and a band. They need to play in unison. Everything needs to be very planned out. And you've seen many examples to where if one band member is gone or not playing up to standards, the whole band falters. Most bands are around for a very small period of time. I mean, one example, I never talked about Led Zeppelin, but when you compare like the Beatles against Rolling Stones or Aerosmith, well, the Beatles have a lot of great hits, and they've had those all within 5 years. The other bands, they've been around for 30, 40, 50 years. But, so what did the Beatles do in this case that was so tremendous? There's many perspectives on what they did, but, it's a very good brain exercise in order to figure out, what did they do and why did it work out so well for them?
Yeah, and what worked out so well is while they had some disagreements, they also had a passion to make the best possible music that they possibly could. So at the end of the day, they put aside their differences and they created beautiful music, just like you're doing really at Checkissuing. I mean, it's really awesome what you've been able to do. I wanted to take a minute, Mark, to thank you so much for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today. I'm going to have you come back on the show so we can talk more about entrepreneurship, because your journey is fascinating, and what you've been able to do at the leadership position at your company is remarkable. Your technology stack is world-class. The clients that you serve is absolutely incredible, and everybody's talking about check issuing in the space. So thank you so much, Mark, for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you, Andy.